Warriors fans, I want you to think about one specific offensive skill for a moment, because it is the entire reason today's news makes so much basketball sense. Movement shooting off the dribble. For over a decade, Golden State's offense has been defined by players who can create their own shot in tight spaces, off the bounce, with elite footwork and touch. Precisely the archetype Kyrie Irving has been recognized as one of the very best in NBA history at executing. And at 1:44 this afternoon, on a live First Take Now cut-in, Shams Charania told the entire basketball world that this exact skill set, fully healthy again for the first time in over a year, was walking directly into the single system in the league most naturally designed to maximize it. Kyrie Irving is walking through the door, traded from the Dallas Mavericks to the Golden State Warriors. Before you scroll off, I'm telling you right now, by the end of this video, I'm going to tell you the specific comparison Shams made connecting this signing directly to a very particular offensive concept Steve Kerr has publicly discussed valuing for years. I'm also going to tell you what Draymond Green posted from his personal account 15 minutes later, a reaction that has told this entire fan base exactly how much respect exists between two players who have shared a genuinely complicated, publicly documented history. Stay with me, do not click off. Here's how it went down. Molly Karam is running First Take Now, discussing training camp storylines, when the control room clearly interrupts with real urgency. She stops. We're going to Shams right now. This is breaking, and it's a genuinely fascinating fit. And they cut. Shams delivers, and this is the direct transcript. I want to explain why Golden State specifically pursued Irving, because it connects to a very particular offensive value Steve Kerr has publicly discussed for years. My understanding is that once Irving's full medical clearance became officially documented, Golden State's front office viewed his specific shot creation ability, off-the-dribble scoring in tight spaces, exactly the kind of shot making that complements a motion-heavy system rather than requiring it to be rebuilt around him, as a rare, immediately available fit. Mike Dunleavy Jr. moved to construct a trade using expiring pieces and draft compensation. This deal is agreed to. It brings one of the most gifted pure shot makers in modern NBA history into the exact system architecture most historically suited to maximize that specific gift. Read that back. Exactly the kind of shot making that complements a motion-heavy system rather than requiring it to be rebuilt around him. That is Shams making a precise, system-specific distinction, explaining that Irving's game genuinely enhances Golden State's existing offensive philosophy rather than demanding the kind of wholesale system overhaul that some ball-dominant stars would require. And 15 minutes later, as I promised, Draymond Green posted from his personal account, and given the genuinely complicated, well-documented history between these two players, this reaction carries real significance. Look, me and Kyrie have had our moments publicly, everybody knows that, but respect is respect, and this man is one of the most gifted offensive talents I have ever shared a court with or against. Fully healthy Kyrie in this system, next to Steph. That's a problem for the entire league. Let's build something. Read that back. Me and Kyrie have had our moments publicly, everybody knows that. That is Draymond directly, publicly acknowledging real, previous tension between the two players, and then explicitly setting that history aside in favor of genuine basketball respect and excitement about the pairing. That specific, honest acknowledgement, rather than a sanitized, generic welcome statement, is exactly the kind of authentic reaction that confirms real, internal buy-in rather than performative public relations. Now, the whiplash, because I know exactly what you're thinking. Golden State is an aging, hard-capped roster. Kyrie Irving has had real, documented locker room complexity at multiple previous stops. How does this specific fit make sense for a team trying to build a genuinely cohesive championship push? And here's the honest answer, and it requires understanding that Irving's specific value at this exact stage of his career, fully healthy in his mid-30s, with genuinely reduced ego around role and touches after everything he's experienced across a well-traveled career, represents a fundamentally different proposition than the version of Irving from years earlier that generated some of that documented complexity. Multiple people close to him have specifically noted across his time in Dallas a genuinely matured, more team-focused approach, particularly evident during that 2024 finals run in Dallas. Stay with me. Because once you understand exactly how Irving's specific shot creation ability plugs into precisely what Golden State's aging core has been missing, this stops looking like a locker room gamble and starts looking like exactly the kind of surgical, system-specific addition championship hunting front offices specialize in identifying. 3 reasons Shams was this confident. Reason 3 is where the reveal lands. Reason number 1. Steph Curry at 38 cannot generate every single difficult self-created bucket this roster needs across a full season and playoff run entirely on his own. Kyrie Irving, fully healthy, remains one of the single most gifted shot creators in modern NBA history. A player who can manufacture a quality shot from literally nowhere in the tightest of spaces against the best individual defenders in the league. That specific rare skill set gives Kerr a second independently dangerous shot creation option, precisely reducing the burden on Curry to be the sole offensive engine in exactly the moments this roster has historically needed it most. Reason number 2, and this is the tactical detail specific to why Kerr's motion-heavy system particularly amplifies rather than restricts Irving's specific game. Unlike a purely isolation-dependent scorer, Irving has genuine off-ball movement instincts and elite touch on the move, attributes that thrive within exactly the kind of constant cutting, relocating, and off-ball action that defines Golden State's offensive identity. This is not asking Irving to abandon his game. This is placing his specific skill set inside the single system architecture in the league most historically suited to make it even more dangerous than it already is in isolation heavy contexts. And before I get to reason 3, because reason 3 is the specific system comparison Shams made, talk to me in the comments. Warriors fans, real question, does knowing Draymond has publicly set aside real, documented past tension to embrace this pairing increase your confidence in the locker room chemistry, or does that history still concern you regardless of his public statement? I think Dub Nation is going to have a genuinely nuanced reaction to this specific dynamic, and I want to read it. Go. Reason number 3, the comparison. Ready? Shams specifically connected this signing to a very particular offensive value Steve Kerr has publicly discussed for years. The specific concept of shot creators who thrive within motion rather than requiring isolation-heavy sets to be effective. Read that back. That is Shams tying a current transaction directly to previously documented on-the-record comments from Kerr about exactly this type of offensive archetype, rather than offering a generic justification disconnected from anything the coaching staff has actually publicly discussed before. When an insider can connect a specific acquisition to a coach's previously stated on-record philosophy, that consistency between past public comments and present action confirms genuine, coherent organizational thinking rather than a reactive, opportunistic scramble. Now the skeptic, Stephen A. Smith, predictably raised real concerns. Kyrie Irving? On the Warriors? This man has had documented locker room complexity in Boston, in Brooklyn, and you're bringing him into an already delicate, aging core with Curry, Draymond, and Butler. At 34, coming off a full season missed to ACL surgery? This feels like it could either be brilliant or a genuine locker room disaster, and there's no obvious way to know which until it's too late. And listen, Stephen A. His concern about Irving's previous documented locker room history at multiple stops deserves genuine, honest consideration. That history is real and shouldn't be dismissed simply because the current basketball fit sounds compelling. But here's the counter, and it's specifically about the version of Irving that actually walked into Dallas and built genuine functional chemistry with a superstar co-star during a real championship run. Whatever complexity existed at earlier stops in his career, the most recent extended stretch of his playing career, specifically the Dallas years, specifically that 2024 Finals partnership with Luka, represents genuine evidence of a more mature, team-oriented approach. Draymond's own public acknowledgement, choosing respect over old tension, is direct current evidence from inside this exact locker room that the reception has been genuinely positive. Stephen A. is drawing from historical patterns. Draymond is reacting to the actual current person walking through the door. Here's the part of this story with genuine texture to it. Kyrie Irving has spent a career being one of the most gifted, most scrutinized offensive talents the league has ever produced. His story defined as much by public narrative and complicated chapters as by his genuinely elite on-court ability. Now at 34, fully recovered from the most significant injury of his career, walking into a genuinely stable, championship-tested organization with Steve Kerr's proven system and Steph Curry's own legendary professionalism as an anchor, he gets access to precisely the kind of structure and culture that could produce the cleanest, most focused final chapter of his career. But I owe you the honest risk. Irving's documented history of complexity at previous stops, combined with the genuine, real uncertainty of a first season back from a major ACL reconstruction, means this specific addition carries both basketball and chemistry risk simultaneously, and neither concern fully disappears simply because the tactical fit and the current public reception both look genuinely promising, so let me bring it home. Kyrie Irving to the Warriors matters because his specific shot creation ability, fully healthy again, addresses exactly what an aging Curry-led core needs most, because Kerr's motion-heavy system is precisely suited to amplify rather than restrict his particular skill set, and because Shams' connection between this move and Kerr's previously stated offensive philosophy confirms genuine, coherent organizational thinking. Draymond Green's honest, history-acknowledging public reaction is the receipt that this pairing has real, current buy-in inside the locker room. Now here's what I'm watching next, and this is the next video, so hit subscribe. If Kyrie lands in the Bay, the very next question is exactly how Kerr distributes shot creation responsibilities between him and Curry, and what specific assets Golden State attached to complete this trade. I've got a read on it that will surprise you. For now, comments, likes, subscribe. Dub Nation. The system was built for exactly this kind of shot maker. Wild summer.